J'en ai encore. J'en ai encore, ma Lulu. Encore.
Good morning.
Venez. Viens, Pépé. Viens, ma Lulu. Allez, viens. Viens, ma Lulu.
Are they not sure who I am?
Yeah, they're intrigued. Somebody new.
So that's your female?
This is Elliot.
Elliot. Oh, this is your
the
male.
boy. This is the toy boy.
He's beautiful.
Yeah, he's a good boy. He's very smart. Aren't you, Elliot? Very smart boy. Here you go, Lulu. Come on, Lulu. This is Tese.
How do you spell that?
T-E-S-E-E.
Teze.
Yeah.
And is she the boss?
Yeah, she is the boss.
Oh, you got a carrot. They're beautiful animals. When you see donkey, I didn't even know what to picture.
They're a very rare breed. They're called a Baudet du Poitou.
How did you find them?
Somebody, well, she can't have babies anymore, and so the person who owns her, who owned her before me, needed to find a place where she wouldn't be mounted.
Right.
He's castrated, so.
So they're good companions.
Yeah, they love each other.
Don't you? Don't you love each other?
Hi, how are you? Welcome back to the Slow Flowers podcast. I'm Deborah Prinzing, and it's an amazing dream come true to come visit Tara Kolla in France. The last time you heard Tara on the Slow Flowers podcast was about 10 years ago.
Wow.
I know. We were sitting in your kitchen in Silver Lake neighborhood of Los Angeles. And those of you who are longtime listeners and fans will have read about Silver Lake Farm in the pages of the 50 Mile Bouquet and heard you on the podcast. So you're a returning guest.
Thanks for having me back after a decade.
I had to come all the way to visit you in France. So by way of backstory, you were an urban flower farmer. I call you like an OG urban flower farmer. Talk a little bit about the highs and lows of flower farming in Los Angeles. We'll just give a little snapshot of what Silver Lake Farms was.
It was at one time three things. It was a flower farm. It was a gardening, vegetable gardening, design, installation, and maintenance company, and it was also a CSA.
With food and flowers.
With food and flowers. Some that were food that was aggregated, but I also contributed microgreens that Bruce and Rachel would grow. Yeah. And,
your peeps.
Yeah. They were volunteers. Every Friday they would come and harvest the microgreens. Anyway, I'm going to go meandering through memories.
You can go down memory lane. I love it.
But that's at one time it was all those three things, and so the highs were the community that really supported what we were trying to do, and really got behind us and showed up. That was a super high, and just all the friends that we made.
Yeah.
And the other high was, of course, all the beautiful flowers and putting the bouquets together and seeing the smiles on people's faces and the joy that they brought. And being able to stand proudly behind them because we knew that they were, no pesticides, no chemicals, completely naturally grown with compost teas and soil biology. And really, they sparkled, and you could see it in people's faces. So that was another high that I'll always remember.
What were the years that you had Silver Lake Farms?
It was 12 years, so from 2002, when the first ag inspector came to do the inventory, to 2016, when literally 2 weeks after Mother's Day, I got on a plane and came to France.
Wow.
The house was all as I left it, and then after I'd gone, Jessica took care of packing everything up, and then the shippers shipped everything over to France.
Oh, my
It was
goodness.
crazy. I was working up to 2 weeks before leaving.
On the farm.
Yeah, because we'd been planning for Mother's Day, and I couldn't not do Mother's
So
Day.
flowers aren't going to stop blooming. Some of the notable things during your arc of your story of Silver Lake Farms was just your, in a way, accidental activism.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that you became a spokesperson for urging the city of Los Angeles to allow flower farming in, I guess, residential properties. Was
That's
that
right.
it? What
Yeah.
was it called?
So it was an old ordinance dating back to 1946 that was poorly worded. The intention was good at the time, but it wasn't worded specifically enough, and so it was called the Truck Gardening Ordinance.
What did that mean? Like people use their trucks to deliver food into the city, or?
Well, I think what it meant was that any excess that you had from a victory garden, you could throw on the back of a truck and take it to market and sell it. But they didn't specify. They just used the word vegetables. And as we all know, that's not a botanical term.
Right.
And so it was interpreted, but some people had a beef with me, and so they interpreted it as, well, vegetables doesn't include a flower. And so then when I was chatting with inspectors from building and safety, we then had to sort of define, well, what is a vegetable then? What is a cauliflower if it ain't a flower? What's a broccoli then? What's a tomato if it's not a fruit? So
Exactly. And aren't flowers edible?
Yeah.
At least your organic ones were.
Yeah. So and they were like shaking their heads, like, yeah, we screwed that up. And so it only took a year, and they changed the law. They redefined it and called it the Food and Flowers Freedom Act of I think it passed in 2010. And thanks to Eric Garcetti.
Yes.
And a ton of amazing supporters, Shelley Marks and her husband Dave Keitel, and a whole bunch of amazing people who were doing a lot of volunteering with gardening and compost making and building community around
Trying to
that.
green up LA and make it,
Yeah.
and also food access
And
flower.
build community
Yeah.
around food and local food and understanding where it comes from and reconnecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really powerful and meaningful.
Well, I think that had happened in 2010 because and then I must have interviewed you in 2011 for the 50 Mile Bouquet, which came out in 2012, because we do mention that story.
Yeah.
And I think we actually called the mayor's office, or Eric Garcetti either was a councilman or a mayor then.
Yeah, maybe he was head of city council.
Yeah, and we got a quote about you. Isn't that amazing?
He was very nice. I remember seeing him in a restaurant in Silver Lake, and I was very shy, but I just wanted to say hi. And so I went up to the table and said, I'm so sorry, I don't want to interrupt your meal, but Mr. Garcetti, I just wanted to thank you. You may not remember me. He was like, Tara, of course I remember you. Wow.
I mean, really, LA is just a bunch of neighborhoods if you live there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is the support you had was because of your customers who bought flowers
At the SilverAke Farmers Market.
Silver
yeah.
Lake.
Yeah.
So you started at Silver Lake
Yeah.
Farmers Market.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then when did you add Hollywood?
Oh golly, I can't remember when exactly, but a little bit after when I felt confident enough.
Oh, because it's a larger market.
It's a big market, and so you have to have the content to sell, the goods, and yeah. So I think I finally mustered up the confidence, maybe 2005 or 6.
But you didn't do both. You just added. You switched over.
I think at one point I did quite a few markets. Yeah,
Why not?
I did one in Little Tokyo. I did one near the library in downtown LA. I did Atwater Village, Hollywood, Silver Lake.
Wow. But we think about first of all, I have to acknowledge, I do live in a bubble. I think everyone loves local flowers and knows about local flowers. And I'm always startled when I have to explain it. When I was telling you about an editor just said to me, or a writer just said to me, my editor doesn't know what slow food is. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we can't let up. We have to keep educating people. But the idea of how hard it was then to, even 10, 15 years ago, how you were really introducing a new concept of locally grown flowers, even in the flower basket of the United States, the state of California.
Well, flower farming began in the state of California by women growing flowers in their backyards. That's where it started. So I was just doing what they were always doing.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a hiccup, though, where people became far removed from that.
Yeah, because of imports and certain trade agreements, and a lot of imports and shifts in the economy.
Or the commercial growing, which was obviously cranking out a lot of flowers from the state of California, but there was like the face of the farmer wasn't known to the consumer.
Yeah.
You were the face of the farmer who helped, I think, just illuminate that story and make it relatable for people. Like, oh, I know her, I shop from her, and I want to see more of this.
Yeah, we got a lot of support. And I have some dear friends in LA Christina Wong, who told me the other day that there are people during COVID, the Food and Flowers Freedom Act helped a lot of people supplement their income. And I was chuffed to bits to hear about that.
Sure.
That it still continues to help people because they grow in their backyards and they're either trading with their neighbors or selling on or processing.
Right. Oh, well, what do we have to do with our time during COVID but to garden? I love it. And I just want to acknowledge your amazing design talent. I know you were a grower first, but you did a lot of weddings. You designed mixed bouquets. I mean, you have an eye and have a vision for how you want your flowers to look.
Well, I like to keep it simple. I really like to keep it simple.
What does that mean? Like 3 ingredients or something?
Well, not even. Sometimes it's just one.
Okay.
But they needed to be perfect. You know, it was about keeping it really simple, wrapping in craft paper, a gorgeous logo, a little sticker with our logo that had a beautiful message on it, beautifully designed by Victoria Vu. And she did a gorgeous job on the logo because I rebranded. And anyway, just keeping it really simple and no plastic buckets. I had my steel holders with the canning jars.
Yes.
And an aluminum stand that my husband helped build. There's a spider here bothering me.
Wait, when you said let's talk a little bit about the metal holders because I have one.
Yeah.
They're rings of weathered steel, kind of like a
milk bottle carrier.
Yeah, you carry 6 bottles of
milk. That
was
the inspiration.
Okay. Well, you put mason jars or canning jars in them.
Yeah.
That's how you took your flowers to market?
Yeah. Yeah, no plastic buckets ever.
Oh my gosh. So
everything was like galvanized or metal, like old farmy. No plastic. Yeah.
And then the carriers were originally for display then, and people started asking if they could purchase them.
Well, that's how we harvested. I would harvest straight into those puppies, and then keep all the varieties together, but grade the colors.
Yes,
if that's even a word.
Yes.
And just make it like bountiful and floriferous and high, so that it was the flowers were eye level.
Right.
You're not looking down on them.
Right. And you created these gorgeous displays, but then you sold flowers, but also
then,
carriers.
Yeah, but then at market, people would come up. Customers would come and say, "So what's this?" And, well, I make bouquets. Just give me a starting flower and tell me how much you'd like to spend, and I'll create a bouquet on the spot for you. And so that's what I did. And sometimes people wanted giant bouquets for like $40 a pop. It was brilliant. I loved it.
I do too.
There were a few times when
somebody's upset with us.
There were a couple of times when I had long lines and some customers were like, "You need help." They got fed up with waiting. Whoops.
That's Americans for you. That's a good segue to say we are in Western France. Many people who followed you on Silver Lake Farms on Instagram have seen that you are now rebranded as Mill on the
Yeah.
Rock. And you said you came here in 2016. It kind of took me by surprise. I know you have lots of European roots, family and having lived in
Yeah.
other parts of Europe and Britain, but let's bring people up to speed on the flower farmers next chapter.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a new chapter. My goodness. So I had the farm for 12 years, and I have to admit that towards the end, my back was hurting a little bit, and my snipping arm, my forearm was
Like the carpal
quite
tunnel.
painful. Yeah, I didn't know what it was. I never bothered going to the doctor. I just plowed through it, and and also the heat in LA was starting. I could feel it, and it was making me prickly inside.
Yeah. It was exhausting to farm in that heat.
It was constant, and yeah, it just never let up, and I could feel it was getting more and more intense. But I think also, and I'm just going to talk about it because not enough people talk about it, but I think I was perimenopausal, and my body was changing, and the heat in my body was coming up. My hormones were
Oh my gosh.
going cuckoo, and
It was harder and harder to just accomplish those tasks.
yeah,
then in that
yeah. I think I was getting like just jittery, edgy, on edge, because something was changing. I could feel it, but I didn't know what it was, and I never took the time to stop and like investigate because I just had to keep going
the little engine
until it stopped.
until it knocked you down.
Yeah. So and so what happened was how I ended up in France was totally unexpected. Was not planning on it at all, but I came for a vacation, the first one in 9 years, in 2013, and my mother had a house about 20 minutes from here, and so I came to visit her and just really liked the area and tacked on a little trip to Morocco and just loved the idea of being able to flee to another country, flit to another country.
And describe this area for Americans. Would you say Bordeaux or
So it's 2 hours north of Bordeaux and 50 minutes east of La Rochelle, which is a very famous port. It's one of the biggest yachting centers in Europe.
so near the coast?
Yeah, near the Atlantic coast, and this is an area called the Marais Poitevin, which is like marshland. So there's a reclaimed marshlands, and then there's the wet marshlands. And I live right by the river. It's a ancient water mill dating back to like the 1400s, and they used to make flour here. And there's no bread oven.
A different kind of flour.
Yeah, oh my goodness, I went from one flower to the other. Well spotted.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
But that wasn't, so 2013, had a wonderful time, came back, took a couple of months off, found some fantastic people to run things while I was gone. So came back in 2014, came back in 2015. That's when I found the mill, and I just fell in love with it the minute I clapped eyes on this property. I just wanted it.
Was it a residence?
Yeah, there was an elderly gentleman living here who was probably in his 80s, and he had been looking for a buyer. He'd actually turned buyers down because he didn't like them, but he liked me. and so he said he was very enamored with the idea of selling to a young lady from America. And then Bayat, my husband, came out a couple of months later because he was working in Boston at the time. And I said to him, "You don't come home without going to France. It's like equidistant."
Right.
So he came to visit, and he liked it.
So it wasn't like there was a bidding war and you had to rush. You could
No.
take your time getting to know this seller.
Yeah, yeah. But and then my husband and I both came back out again in December just to be sure.
In
And then
2014.
2014.
Okay.
And then 2015. And then in January 2016, we put in an offer and it was accepted. And May I moved. So
Goodness.
yeah, done
Wow.
deal. Sold
Wow.
the house. Like we put the house on the market on a Thursday, and Monday it was sold.
In LA.
Yeah.
Well, Silver Lake is a very hot neighborhood now.
Yeah.
And
And our property was kind of unusual.
was it hard to sell to someone who didn't know
Well,
that it had
here's
flowers?
the thing. Here's the thing. So I had met with several agents, and I'm just going to say it. Sorry, mostly men.
Yes.
And they all said, get rid of the farm and put in a lawn. But it didn't sit right with me because I wanted to sell it for what it was. It was a farm. The idea of putting in a lawn was just antithetical
Yes.
to everything that I had been working at and doing. So
And that Silver Lake property was, Bayat told me last night, half an acre.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
one of the larger parcels.
One of the largest properties in Silver Lake. And so then I met Patty, who is Tamar's agent, and I said, Patty, what do you think I should do? Put in a lawn? She's like, absolutely not. Leave it as it is. We're selling it as a farm.
Oh,
And
really?
she nailed it. She was right. She knew. And
Well,
so we
even
sold
the
it as a
romance
farm.
of it, even if someone never would grow, the romance of buying a farm
Yeah,
with
in
this.
Silver Lake. I mean, come on.
So that
No-brainer.
you didn't have to clear cut anything. You just be authentic. This is what it is.
Yeah.
I love it.
And also the couple that bought had a little girl, and they sent me emails afterwards about how their little girl just loves walking around the garden and exploring plants, and that really touches me when I think that it had, well, that reminds me with the CSA members as well. Their kids grew up on vegetables and connecting with vegetables and farming and farms and an array of fresh vegetables. So this connection with the next generation,
Yeah.
it's like if I had this little involvement in that,
I love that.
That means a lot.
I love that. Just a little side trip also, while we're talking about that property, it was not the only property you farmed on in Los Angeles.
No.
So this other property, we featured you there.
Yeah.
And talk
Dear
about that.
Laura Gabbett, who she's a documentary producer, and she just said, hey, you want to grow up? We have this piece of land. It was flat in Glassell Park, and so that was the growing ground where we did a lot of intense production there.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and then the sweet peas and a lot of other things we grew at Silver Lake as well, because it was a slightly different climate.
A little cooler, maybe?
Yeah, and plus we had the shade.
Yeah, exactly. We're
Yeah.
hearing your chickens greet us. So that was just a season two. And since you didn't own that land, you kind of just harvested everything, and then you were able to transition away from that.
Yeah, we found someone to take over the growing ground because I didn't want to leave Laura,
having to be a farmer.
Yeah. But I didn't stay in touch. It was pretty intense when I got here because we renovated
Right.
the mill, and I was managing that. So that took up all my thinking power.
Right. Was it hard to make that radical change, to turn away from something you'd invested so much in and embrace a completely new lifestyle?
I admit there were tears when I left because it was really the close of a chapter that was a huge part of my life.
It was your persona for so long.
Yeah, it was my identity.
People knew you as
absolutely.
the flower farmer in LA.
And we'd invested so much blood, sweat, tears. So much had gone into that. And such a battle. So many people wanted to take it away, shut it down, fuck us up.
Yeah. Why?
Because they're just mean.
Yes.
And miserable, people. It was a lot that went into that, so much, but I didn't look back. Once I got here, this consumed everything. I had so much to learn.
Oh my God, this place is magical. It's this millhouse dating back to the 1400s. The stone is first of all, the windowsills are 24 inches deep. The walls are thick stone.
Yeah,
and
50 centimeters.
Okay. Did you originally have a vision for turning it into kind of a farm-based business, a lifestyle business when you moved here? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
I wanted, originally the idea was to have a 4-bedroom bed and breakfast, but it's expensive, man, because you pay proper labor rates here,
Yes.
and lots of taxes. So I didn't really want to invest that much in renovating the barns into a 4-bedroom B&B. So the next thing was that there was this rise in the trend of retreats, and so I decided to do that instead. So we have accommodation, like two double rooms, and then a dorm. But it's a pleasant dorm for 5 people where you have space and you have some privacy, but it's still a dorm.
Yes.
And
Shared,
shared
yeah.
accommodation, yeah, and a giant meeting and teaching room. So that's what it is now.
Right.
A retreat venue.
So the retreat sort of business is just starting to take shape. COVID kind of slowed you down a little bit, right?
Yeah, COVID slowed me down. An ankle break slowed me down. And,
Life.
And then menopause.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a 5-year battle until I found the doctor in London, in England, who got me the right HRT treatment.
Oh, honey.
Yeah.
And your own vision of what you want to do here has kind of evolved as well. So you had, retreats could be all kinds of things.
Yeah, I was a little ambitious at the beginning. I had 4 different categories: wellness, gastronomy, makers, and art. And now I've whittled it down to makers, so plant fiber and animal fiber and floral.
I love it.
So those are the 3 different types of retreats that I offer here, and they're fairly short, like 3 days.
And you grow fiber plants, you have animals, you have sheep, which you can do felting from the wool that you harvest, and then you often either work with local flower farmers or use the flowers you grow here.
Yeah, I use flowers that I grow here. Yeah, there's a local flower farmer, Coralie, that we went to visit.
Right. We'll tag that video onto this one.
So she's about an hour from here, slow flower grower, and then we grow nettles and we use that for fiber.
That's amazing. This we're going to air before your September 28th floral workshop. What is it actually? What are you calling that workshop?
It's just a floral workshop. It's
Okay.
a day.
One day.
One day.
And how you kind of want to me it seems like you're developing resources like a florist to teach, a flower farmer to teach. You'll create the environment, the ambiance, kind of the flow of the day. And your ideal number of students is
15.
What? Okay. But no one's staying the night here.
No,
But
it's a one day.
In the future, that might happen.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, my accommodations were wonderful.
Oh, good.
And I was in the space above the old mill house.
Yeah, above the wheel.
I
Yeah.
know. But it's too dry right now for the water to be moving
Well,
the
we
wheel.
close the wheel when guests come.
Oh, why? Is it kind of loud?
Well, some people like the sound.
Okay.
But also right now, the water level is a little low because we're in August, and the river runs low.
Wow.
So we manage the wheel differently in the summer.
But what a transition to, basically have a home-based business in Los Angeles and now have a home-based business here in France, and completely different, but so true to you, your authentic vision for being kind of responding to nature and the seasons. I see the arc, I see the thread.
I'm glad someone does. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I just go with where my heart takes me,
Well, when you have this one day workshop at the end of September, which if anyone's traveling in France, they could contact Tara and attend. It might be in French, but you're a good translator. But groups can also put their own
Oh yeah.
destination.
Yeah, we're a venue too. So if somebody is looking for a venue that's magical, fully surrounded with nature, by a river, with some animals, flowers, vegetables, harvest your own. Lots of country walks, cycling, little day excursions. This is a great place, and the meeting space is 100 meters square. It's massive.
It is.
Yeah,
We'll show a photo in our show notes. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. I did take a lot of pictures. I mean, this is like a storybook setting that you've really brought to life. And
Thank you.
I know it sounds like you did have a lot of, just cosmetic as well as construction improvements you had to do.
Yeah, well, I needed to make sure that I could live in it because when Bayat's working, I wanted to make sure I'm warm in the winter, and and it's cozy. So, but we also tried to honor the history of the place, and so we kept a lot of original features. But just added, a modern kitchen and a nice tile on the floor underfoot, and ambient floors.
But as much of the original limestone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the old beams just blow my mind.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah, the stone, the wood, we kept, and the shutters. It's just we tried to, as I said, honor the history of the place.
That's great. I loved this visit so much. It was a quick a day and a half from Paris. Really, actually, little over 2 hour train trip to get here, and it's transported me into a world that is the opposite of the city. It's just so relaxing, and I just had a wonderful visit.
Well, I'm super honored that you took the time to come visit.
How could I not?
It's really a pleasure and an honor.
Thank you so much, Tara. And we'll share details about the workshop. We got to meet Coralie. It's a fabulous flower farm that you're going to start collaborating with. Her flowers will be a beautiful addition. And I hope it's a big success, and it's
Thank you.
sort of is a model for what you'll do going forward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hope to do a few a year. Yeah.
Lovely. Okay.
Thanks, Deborah. Allez. Allez, tu rentres. Allez. Oh, oh. Voilà. Good boy, Elliot. Nobody wants to run away now, do they? Huh? Nobody wants to run away. No,
I didn't mean it.
I wasn't going to run away, Mommy. No, he's a smarty pants, I'm telling you.
He's looking for that wagon that you have.
Yeah.